These stories coming up next on News Channel 13 live at 11. A long day for President Clinton's choice for Attorney General. We'll have the latest on Zoe Barrett's confirmation hearings. Winnie the Pooh offers some good advice on the topic of sex abuse involving children. And meteorologist Bob Kovachick is talking freezing rain and sleet. News Channel 13 at 11 is next.
This is News Channel 13, WNYT, Albany. And now, live for the Capital Region, Ed Degg, Chris Kapistashi, Bob MacNamara with sports, and meteorologist Bob Kovachick. This is News Channel 13, live at 11.
Good evening. Ed and Chris are on assignment tonight, and our top story at this hour, rapidly changing weather making for trouble on the roads. Rain is moving in, the mercury is falling, and that combination means sleet and freezing rain. Let's go to Bob Kovachick in the Weather Center for the latest. Bob?
Benita, right now, freezing rain and sleet producing some hazardous travel, slippery travel in the shaded areas, which includes parts of the Schoharie Valley, along the Mohawk Valley, Johnstown, Gloversville, on east into much of Saratoga County, around Galway, Saratoga Springs, approaching Wilton and Glens Falls, and then on over into the hills of Rensselaer County. To the south from Pittsfield to Catskill and Hudson, it's mainly rain. Immediate Capital District, liquid, 34 degrees, rain here. But again, west and north, the main problems tonight. I think much of the area will be above freezing tomorrow morning. It should be a better travel situation then, except in the far north country. Full update on the weather coming along in a few minutes. Benita.
Okay, Bob, and the weather, as he mentioned, is causing major headaches for some motorists. Let's get the latest on what local police and fire departments are working on tonight. Here's Christina DeFranco.
Well, Benita, that's right. A number of accidents due to the slippery roads. Saratoga County rescue crews at the scene of a crash on Route 29 just outside the city limits. It just happened, so we don't have much information, but we do know there are injuries, and we have a crew on the way. Also, Washington County emergency crews still at the scene of a crash on Route 197 in Fort Edward. This happened about 9 o'clock. There are injuries, but we're not sure how serious they are. And our Newsnet bureau at the Daily Editor in Cobleskill reports dozens of cars off Interstate 88, mostly in western Schoharie County. At 11:01, that's the latest from the Operations Center.
Okay, thanks, Christina. A long first day on the job for President Bill Clinton. It included greeting nearly 2,000 well-wishers, holding his first staff meeting, keeping an eye on Iraq, and facing a growing chorus of criticism over his nominee for Attorney General. That nomination is in question tonight and poses Clinton's first major political crisis. Sandy Gilmore joins us now with more.
Happy birthday! After all the parties and very little sleep, the President and First Lady were out early holding an open house for 2,500 people. Mr. Clinton's cheerfulness hid a serious political hangover. His nomination for Attorney General, 40-year-old corporate lawyer Zoe Barrett, was sinking fast on Capitol Hill, posing a political embarrassment and calling into question Clinton's political judgment.
She knowingly broke the law. Because of this, I think this compromises her ability to serve as our nation's chief law enforcer.
Baird, who earned $500,000 as a lawyer for Aetna Insurance last year, has admitted to knowingly hiring 2 illegal alien South Americans to babysit and to drive, and then not paying Social Security taxes on their wages. Constituents are calling congressmen, and they are angry. Opposition is growing among not only Republicans, but Democrats.
Senator, I have said to you and the others here that I've done something that I deeply regret. I've said it's wrong. I've said it's a mistake.
Clinton's spokesman was fuzzy about whether the president knew Baird had broken the law when he nominated her, but gave his boss an out should Clinton decide to dump her.
I think that a lot of the details and the timing of this are rather murky, and we got the full statement and a full understanding after the fact.
Baird has so far refused to take the hint from Democrats who find her unacceptable as the nation's top law enforcement officer. Tonight, congressional leaders are understood to be pressuring President Clinton to withdraw the nomination. Sandy Gilmore, NBC News, Washington.
And President Clinton met with policy advisors tonight after spending much of today keeping a campaign promise, remaining accessible. Remember the Clinton family from Clifton Park who were at Congressman McNulty's inaugural reception yesterday? Well, today the 2 Bill Clintons, father and son, were among the first at the White House.
All right, yeah, the 3 of us have the same name. First time I really bomb, I'm going to blame it on them. Let's say they did it.
In all, President Clinton spent 2 hours shaking hands with 2,000 winners of a White House lottery, including some teenagers from Schoharie County. A priest from Connecticut has been put on leave after allegations surfaced concerning his behavior while in the company of a Berkshire County teenager. The Reverend Kieran Ahern of Bethel, Connecticut, has been charged with indecent assault and battery and contributing to the delinquency of a child. A 16-year-old student from the Berkshire Learning Center told police Father Ahern picked him up in Pittsfield Tuesday night, gave him whiskey, and spent time with him at a Lenox, Massachusetts hotel. Ahern pleaded not guilty to the charges today. His lawyer says the alleged rendezvous never happened. Serious allegations are also being leveled tonight against a 6th grade teacher in Hudson Falls. John Melius is accused of having sexual contact with at least 2 young girls between the ages of 11 and 14. Investigators say it is possible more youngsters are involved. Melius was arraigned today and is due back in court next week. It seems that we have had a flood of stories in the news this week concerning allegations of sexual abuse involving children, and many parents out there may be wondering what they can do to protect their kids. John Gray joins us now live with some of the answers, I hope, John.
Some of them, Benita. Now, as you well know, communication is the key here. Parents need to get the right information and then get it to their kids at an early age. And I'm sure there's parents thinking, well, I don't really know how to approach my kids or talk to them about this. That's okay, because there are pamphlets and videos that can help.
Well, well, aren't you pretty little girls? What are your names? You live around
If
here?
your child was confronted by a stranger,
tell
would they
me.
know what to do?
No!
Would they run away?
Be suspicious of all strangers. That means...
Winnie the Pooh certainly knows, and if you showed this tape to your child, they would too. At Blockbuster Video, there's a whole section of tapes like this aimed at helping parents and kids. They're free and often available.
They're not as used as often as you would think, especially because they are free. And I do think it's got a broad range of stuff which would apply to many people in the community.
The experts tell us that parents need to realize that the way we raise our children can sometimes work to the advantage of an abuser.
The children have been taught throughout their lives to respect adults. In a case like this, if an adult asks them a question, they feel they should answer it. But that's where they get themselves into some trouble, possibly.
She's sick and asked me to come pick you up.
And parents can perhaps avoid that trouble if they take the time to educate their kids.
Suppose somebody tries to touch you in a not okay way. What would you say?
No! Don't touch me there, or I'll tell. Don't touch me.
Bravo! Bravo! That's the way to be.
And bravo, I say, Benita, to any parent that goes out to get the videos. I want to remind people, though, the Winnie the Pooh video, this one, which is very popular, because it's from Disney, it's in the Disney section, you have to pay for that. It was only $1.50 or so to rent. Not a lot of money, but the vast majority of these videos, it's not just Blockbuster, almost any video store has a little section where they have these free tapes. I mean, you can't beat the price. Why not take them home and show them to the kids?
Sure, John, even $1, that's so inexpensive if you can protect your child. John, while these are great promoters to open up conversations between parents and their children, are there any 1 or 2 points that all of these films make that a parent can take away with them tonight so that perhaps they can start tomorrow morning before they even get out to the movie, to places like Blockbuster?
Yeah, absolutely. Tell your child to trust their instincts, Benita. That was the overriding theme I saw in here. If something doesn't seem right, if a situation doesn't feel right, tell the child that's okay, you can walk away from it, even if it's an aunt or an uncle or someone that is supposed to be friendly with them, and they should feel that they can always tell the parent, because the statistics show children very, very seldom lie about abuse of this sort. If a child tells you something's going on, you better believe it.
Because something's just not right. John Gray, very good advice. Thanks a lot. John reporting live in our newsroom. Well, still to come on News Channel 13 live at 11, a fatal shooting in a Los Angeles high school may have been a tragic accident, and we'll report on the arrest of 2 men following a series of shootings in Schenectady.
News Channel 13 is sponsored in part by your upstate Toyota dealers. Toyota, I love what you do for me.
They were just trying to make their neighborhood safer. So when Schenectady police went looking for a couple of shooters, they got help from Hamilton Hill residents. Tonight, 2 men behind bars in connection with a couple of shootings in the Electric City. Diane Eastabrook has details.
Early this morning, Schenectady police charged 23-year-old Bruce Washington with the January 4th robbery and shooting of Delbert McCalla. Police later arrested 16-year-old Jamal Hawkins as the trigger man in a shooting January 6th at the corner of Emmett and Steuben Streets. Schenectady County DA Robert Carney says Hawkins shot 19-year-old William Johnson in a dispute between two groups over turf.
And although there were other individuals around, they themselves have not been charged. Based upon my preliminary review of the facts, I agree with that.
Both Carney and Police Commissioner Charles Mills credit neighbors with helping police solve the second shooting.
And when we have incidents like this, the community itself does not cooperate because they were afraid to get involved because of retaliation. In this particular incident, I have to say we were pleasantly surprised, and it was great that the community came forward and gave us the leads and gave us information.
But late this afternoon, no one in the neighborhood wanted to talk about the shooting and doubted the arrest of two people will end the violence in their neighborhood. Diane, Eastabrook, News Channel 13.
Police now say today's shooting that left one student dead in a Los Angeles school was an accident. They say a 15-year-old boy was reaching into his book bag during freshman English class when his .357 Magnum went off. Robert Vito reports.
The fatal shooting occurred in an English class at this high school in Hollywood. It was first period, and Charles Schwartz had just begun handing back test papers.
All of a sudden, heard bang, and I saw one student down, and then I turned around, the other student was down.
The first student to be hit was critically injured, and the same bullet struck and killed another student. Police say the shooting occurred by accident when a ninth grader fired a gun that was in his book bag while playing with it in class. All three students were boys.
School police at that time took possession of the weapon and also took a suspect into custody.
Students in the class said it was horrifying. One described how the suspect leaned over his victims and said,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean it, and that's it. And then he goes like, I don't want to go to jail.
According to the National Education Association, at least 100,000 students nationwide bring guns to school on a daily basis. And every school day, about 40 students are hurt or killed by firearms.
We go to the airport, there's a metal detector. We send our kids to school, we don't know if they're going to come home in the afternoon.
That's something that probably ought to be addressed with the school board. We don't really have any control over that.
New York and Detroit have metal detectors in some schools, but Los Angeles doesn't. The student in this case says he brought the gun to school because he was afraid of gangs.
I know the schools do the best they can, but it just so shocks you that you have a student in there who's dead. And it's devastating.
Robert Vito, CNN, Los Angeles.
Meteorologist Bob Kovachick is up next with the forecast, and he says our next batch of precipitation should arrive as rain and some freezing rain. Details right after this. Bob and I are discussing birthdays, and I think, Bob, this is the kind of night that can age a meteorologist with all the stuff that's falling and the fine lines around town.
Very fine line from place to place, community to community. Depends on what the temperature is here, there, and everywhere. But there is some freezing rain around Benita. We'll talk about that in a moment, show you where it's icy tonight. First, a quick AccuCheck. Today's forecast. Well, they went for sunshine giving way to clouds, high 38 to 42. The weather turned out pretty much as expected with an actual high of 36. Right now, we've got just plain rain. Fortunately, at the Albany County Airport, because the temperature is 34, our high for the day 36, low of 8, record high 58, record low of 16 below zero. Winds currently south at 10, humidity 87, barometer falling at 30-32. A question came up a couple of moments ago about rain versus freezing rain versus sleet. Freezing rain is simply liquid, totally liquid rain that comes to the ground. Boom, the pavement is 32 or less. Your car is 32 or less. It freezes. Sleet on those ice pellets or ice balls that come down and bounce on the ground all around, and either way, it creates slippery travel. Rain is now falling in much of New York State, from Buffalo to Rochester to Binghamton to the Capital District to the Berkshires. Freezing rain, that little icicle indicating freezing rain now at Bennington. 26, nothing yet at Glens Falls, but when it gets there, it will be sleet and freezing rain in the next hour or two. I think only the far north country, central Vermont, upper Hudson Valley, Adirondacks will have some icy travel tomorrow morning, although right now it is a different story. The big radar picture is showing a large area of precipitation in the region, mostly rain along and south of the Mohawk Valley, although there is some icy weather along I-88, as we just reported, in Schoharie County, quite a few cars off the road. Up north, freezing rain, sleet, Saratoga County, Fulton County, heading on up to the Sacandaga region, approaching Glens Falls. So North Country will be icy tonight. Local radar, live from the National Weather Albany County Airport. Here's the precipitation. Looks like a pretty good patch of heavier freezing rain and sleet out of the Mohawk Valley to the upper Hudson Valley. That's where travel will be really tricky for the next few hours. Let's check that satellite view. Oh, what a whopper. What a great satellite view we have for the past 24 hours. Boom, the storm whisking along quickly now, centered in the Great Lakes, heading into Canada. This precipitation will not last long. It should be ending early to mid-morning tomorrow as drizzle, as a little freezing drizzle up north. The rest of the day tomorrow should be dry. Another big storm coming in on the northwest coast. Tons of snow in the mountains of Oregon and Washington up into western Canada. Gale force winds there. That storm not going to play an immediate role in our weather. Here's the eastern half of the country showing a messy mix of rain and some ice around. But notice the precipitation scope is beginning to diminish and move off to the east. So most of the precipitation out of here tomorrow morning. And I'll be out of here for 30 seconds. Then I'll be back, I hope. Overnight forecast, rain and drizzle in much of the area, but still freezing rain and some sleet in our western and northern viewing area and into Vermont, low 30 to 34. Travel should be slippery tomorrow morning only in areas well north of Albany into Vermont. Highs tomorrow afternoon, 38 to 42. Rain early, ice up north, but definitely a milder afternoon. For tomorrow night, 26 to 30, mostly cloudy, breezy. There is a chance of flurries. The weekend Saturday looks pretty good, partly sunny, 41. Pretty good ski day. It won't be too cold. Sunday, some light snow or some light rain, no big deal. And much colder weather coming our way Monday and Tuesday. So immediate capital district is spared ice, because that's the worst thing to drive on up north. It's bad tonight.
Enough to make you grit your teeth, huh, Bob?
Yeah.
Which gets us into our next story.
Okay.
More controversy over dental fillings. A government report out tonight says those fillings are not a health threat, even though they release mercury vapor that's absorbed into the body. While the report acknowledges mercury is a poison, it says not enough gas is released to hurt anybody, so no need to yank those fillings. A gloss job, says the attorney who represents people suing the government because they say the fillings are a danger, adding the FDA has a file full of reports of adverse reactions to fillings. In tonight's Health Matters calendar, a free prostate and testicular cancer screening slated for Tuesday at Leonard Hospital. Call 235-0310 for your appointment. The next meeting of the Post-Coronary Discharge Club at Saratoga Hospital is Thursday at 7. The topic, mitral valve prolapse. Call 583-8485 for details. And St. Mary's Hospital in Amsterdam hosts a community program on hysterectomy. That's set for 7 p.m. Thursday. Call 842-1900. The extension is 309 for more information. Siena, Union College, and SUNY Albany basketball teams all in action tonight. MAAC up next with scores and highlights, and then later, the latest ski conditions from Maine to Colorado. Max says, pick your descriptive term, disappointing, disgusting, or an outright bummer for the way Siena's league opener went tonight.
Well, Benita, you got to beat the Fairfields of the world if you want to make some hay. Tonight, they couldn't do that. Fairfield came from 7 back in the second half to win 59 to 56. Bennerman and Matthews combined for 49 points for the Saints, but hey, they just weren't enough. Here at home tonight, Union rattled off 10 unanswered points to break a tie with 6 minutes to play and beat arch-rival Albany State 69-61. Beautiful glide through traffic here by Kenny Evans. He led the charge. He had 21 points. In defeat, Jason Graber won game honors for Albany. He canned 26. The final again, Union 69, Albany State 61. Meantime, Duke, look at this one. 36 over NC State. What a year for NC State. Sinking like a rock. UMass 2 over Temple tonight. Wake Forest did a pretty good number on Georgia Tech. Manhattan by 1 over Niagara. Eagles' 11-game win streak is kaput. LaSalle beats Duquesne tonight, and Speedy Morris signs a new 4-year contract as head coach. Nice night for LaSalle. Canisius 19 over Iona, and Tulane 8 over VCU. In pro basketball tonight, Willie McDuffie's 12-footer at the buzzer gave Capital Region Pontiacs their 10th straight win at the Nick Arena, 96-94, at the expense of Quad City. In the big show tonight, Michael Jordan had a huge game at both ends of the floor, scoring 30 points, and Chicago knocked over New Jersey. Ho-hum, 8th straight time they beat that club, winning by 13. In defeat, strong game for Derek Coleman. He had 22 points plus a dozen rebounds. The final, Chicago 107, New Jersey 94. Meantime, Milwaukee 10 over Indiana, Denver 16 over Dallas, and Houston having no problems with Detroit in the fourth quarter. In football, it's official tonight. Bill Parcells is the new head coach of the hapless New England Patriots. And siding with the Pats, though, he gets the biggest coaching deal in the history of pro football. Parcells named at a news conference this afternoon he will have enormous plug into the front office. Parcells has been away from coaching a couple of years, but hey, he comes in with huge credentials, including 2 world titles with the Giants.
He's bringing outstanding talent to...
This is my last coaching job, without question. And my goal is to try to get back to the championship game.
Say Parcells' deal with owner James Orthwine is out of this world. Orthwine really needs Parcells. He plans to sell this club, and to get anywhere near the price he wants, he needs to put his house in order. He thinks Parcells is the man. The New York Times saying today that the Giants have offered Dan Reeves their coaching job, and the Rocky Mountain News is saying Reeves will accept the deal. Press conference possibly tomorrow. Reeves has a terrific track record, taking Denver into the playoffs 6 times in 12 years. In fact, his Bronco teams played in 3 Super Bowls, all losses, but hey, he got him there. According to the Rocky Mountain News, Reeves' contract with the Giants is now in the hands of his lawyer. And Bo Jackson called the media together today to show him something. Where did you see this? Jackson, who had a hip replacement, remember, just 9 months ago, took some swings, did some easy fielding in an indoor area in the White Sox ballpark, and he did some running. Absolutely incredible. He was bent on coming back, and son of a gun, he's doing it. He says the new hip is great.
Wow, the difference is like night and days, to tell you the truth. There's no limp, as you see, and there's no pain. That's the main thing.
Worst case scenario, Bo could always DH this year. He says he'll be ready for the start of spring training. Really an amazing man.
That's just great, too. That is just great.
Benita, you're the health reporter. Have you ever heard of anything like that?
A new hip is like a new hip. You know, everyone I know who's had a hip replacement says it's been a whole new lease on life for them. So I suppose if you were in the condition that Bo Jackson was going in, why not?
Can he come back? You're into this.
Why not?
Why not is right.
I'll have to talk to the real experts. But why not? If he really wants to, mind over matter. I hear the music. It says then we will have more news and an update on ski conditions right after this.
The Skiing Weatherman is sponsored by Stratton Mountain.
It's 11:31. Time to check up now on tonight's top stories. I see roads are making for treacherous travel tonight. Let's check in again with Christina DeFranco in the News Channel 13 Operations Center. Christina?
Benita, we now know that 1 person is dead, the result of that crash on Route 29 in Saratoga Springs. It happened about an hour ago near Slade Road. Police say it involved 3 cars. Emergency crews are still there. No word on whether there are any further injuries. Also, a Rensselaer County emergency crews are en route to a multiple-car accident in the town of Scanticoke on the Clum Road. 4 or 5 cars are involved. Unknown injuries at this time. The word from local police departments, the roads are bad, and there are road crews out there right now. At 11:32, that's the latest from the Operations Center.
Okay, thanks, Christina. In tomorrow morning's Times-Union newspaper, Michael Gormley will report on the tobacco smuggling ring the FBI broke up. They say the land-sea operation ran from the St. Regis Mohawk Indian Reservation to Maine and Canada. There's also a story on the boost in the sales tax take for Albany County thanks to the added 1% tax. And word that extra 1% will probably live at least 1 extra year. And a story about stolen porta-johns and the stink that raised when the alleged thief was apprehended in Saratoga Springs. And finally, tonight, our weekly update on downhill ski conditions. Here's Herb Stevens, the skiing weatherman.
The temperature's been on a real roller coaster ride this season, but this week, most eastern areas got to make a significant amount of snow. Here at Whitetail in Pennsylvania, the guns have been firing for 60 straight hours, and the base is now ready to fight off the next spell. The second season of Whitetail has been a successful one. The weekday programs are most popular. There's Men's Day, Women's Day, Seniors Day, and because the area is less than 2 hours from D.C., Government Workers Day.
The return to wintry weather of the past week has the skiing as good as it's been all season at Willard Mountain, West Mountain, and Maple Ski Ridge, and hopefully it'll stay that way. In the Catskills, just about every inch of terrain's open at Ski Windham, Hunter, and Scotch Valley, where a torchlight parade is scheduled for Saturday night. Last week's heavy snow was followed by some light snow this week at Pico and Sugarbush in Vermont and at Mount Sutton in Quebec. It's been a wintry week throughout Vermont. At Stratton, Okemo, and Killington, the skiing is outstanding. Just about every major run's open at Mount Snow, Haystack, and Bromley, where the Capital District Ski Council will race this Sunday. The Berkshires have enjoyed a fine season thus far. Butternut, Jiminy, and Catamount are looking good for the weekend. Almost every trail's open at Brody. In the west, several moderate snowfalls blanketed Steamboat and Jackson Hole this week.
And one last look at the weather tonight. Bob?
All right, tomorrow morning, rise and shine weather, liquid rain here, still some freezing rain, far north country. I expect basically no immediate travel problems in the immediate capital district, Berkshires, Hudson Valley, or Mohawk Valley, but up north from Glens Falls into the Adirondacks, across central Vermont, still some freezing rain, icy weather up there. That's for early tomorrow morning, so use some extra caution.
And hope everybody takes care of getting home tonight. That's it. Hope you had a nice evening. Continue to have a nice one. See you here again tomorrow.